Elmer Again by David McKee. Elmer the Patchwork Elephant was bored. It was 2 days before another Elmer's Day parade, the day when elephants covered themselves with bright patterns. The colors were ready, and the elephants were quietly thinking about how they would decorate themselves. Elmer didn't have to think. He was always colored gray for the parade. Only gray elephant. Time for a walk, he said to himself. As he walked, Elmer thought, it's too quiet around here. We need a joke or something to liven things up. He came to a pool and looked at his reflection. Hello, Elmer, he said to himself in the water. You've just given me a good idea. Thank you. When he returned, the others were still quietly thinking. Elmer went up to one of them and whispered in his ear. The other elephant smiled and winked, but said nothing. Elmer settled down for a rest. They had a long night in for him. When night fell, Elmer waited until the others were asleep. Then, taking care not to wake them, he set to work. Before sunrise, he had finished, and he tiptoed off to another part of the forest to sleep for what was left of the night. In the morning, the first elephant to wake looked at his neighbor and said, Good morning, Elmer. One after another, the elephants woke up, and as they did, from every direction came, Good morning, Elmer. 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 And so on. During the night, Elmer had painted all the elephants to look like him. Now there were Elmers everywhere, and nobody knew which was the real one. Then the elephants started to speak to each other and say things like, Are you Elmer? I don't know, the others might say. I might be today, but I'm sure I wasn't yesterday. Then one of the elephants called out, This is another Elmer trick. Come on, let's splash across the river and wash off the colors. Then we'll see who the real Elmer is. The elephants raced to the river and splashed their way to the other side. Once on the other side, the elephants stared. They were all gray. Where's Elmer? They asked. Here, of course, said a gray elephant. Don't you recognize me? But you're the same color as us, gasped the others. So I am, said Elmer. Wonderful. I always wanted to be like you. This is awful, said another elephant. Elmer can't be like the rest of us. Things won't be the same without an Elmer. Well, there's nothing I can do about it, said Elmer. Unless, what, said the others. Well, said Elmer, the colors that washed off are still floating on the water. Perhaps if I run back through them, I may return to normal. Try it, shouted the others. Try anything to get your colors back. Yahoo! Elmer called. And he raced across the river and vanished into the trees on the other side. Almost at once he reappeared, puffing and panting, but once again in his bright patchwork colors. Hooray! Cheered the elephants from across the river. It worked! We've got our Elmer again. With that, the elephants started chanting, Elmer! 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 Beside Elmer, another elephant suddenly appeared from out of the trees. Did you call? He asked. The other elephants went silent and stared. This other elephant was soaking wet, as if he had just run across the river. On top of that, both Elmer and the other elephant were laughing. You tricked us, said one elephant to the wet gray elephant. You were working with Elmer and pretended to be him. We should have known Elmer's colors wouldn't wash off. It's another Elmer trick. With that, the whole herd of elephants burst out laughing, and running back into the river, they started to splash the two Elmers and each other, and once again they chanted, Elmer, 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 until the whole jungle shook with their noisy game. The end. Hope you enjoyed that story. Make sure you like and subscribe to my page, That Kinder Teach, and look forward to a new story from me every day. See you next time.